Yeah, I just got home from we did bottle rock up in Napa.
Yeah.
Me and LP, we did our first Run the Jewels show in 20 months. So that felt good. We went up to Nashville. Shouts out to the Thompson Hotel in Nashville. They treated us good. We rehearsed up there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Bonnaroo got canceled, but hopefully we'll be back next year. So.
Exactly. What was that like having to pause for the cause for 20 months, man, when y'all already had that wave going crazy with Run the Jewels?
Man, Run the Jewels is, for those that know, they know we tour about 123 days a year. We one of the most successful touring rap acts in the world. So it was strange to get home because COVID started right when our new album, Run the Jewels 4, dropped. So Run the Jewels 4 dropped. We dropped our biggest single ever in Ooh La La with Greg Nice, Preem on the cut. Shoot the video in L.A., big lot. Man, I bought a Grand National out there. I was on top of the world. I come home, God bless the dead, my man Butter, his father, Robert Sr. had passed. We went to his funeral, and I got sick. I laid down for 2 weeks, and it was like a movie.
Yeah.
I lay down for 2 weeks. My wife nursed me back to health with all that Geechee Gullah voodoo she did.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, I'm up and the world says we're closed. Like there's this thing called COVID happening. And at first it was uncomfortable because we're going out on tour next year now.
Yeah.
But we were supposed to go out that year opening for Rage Against the Machine on their reunion tour.
Yeah.
For those who may not know, that's the equivalent of saying Outkast going on the world tour. I get a chance to open for Outkast.
Yeah.
At Prime Dollar. So I was just like, I was like, God, you really just don't want a nigga to be rich, do you? Like, you know what I'm saying? But really, man, what I realized, like my grandparents said, you got to sit still and let the Lord work. So being home, man, I'd have a chance to spend more time with my children, more time with my wife, more time with my friends and do a lot of cool stuff. Some of which you heard on the new Madden, the song Yes, produced by my man DJ Menace, who also did Look Back at It for Trina, who put me on, back in the day. So I had a lot of fun, being home. But, all that's cool now. I'm back outside.
Facts. Killer, I got to take it back to square one, man. Being a West Side player coming out of Adamsville with it, man. What was that like for you growing up on the West Side off of that MLK and having these dreams and visions of a life that you wanted to live, but not seeing it right there at your doorstep?
Well, I don't have a typical story, meaning that like I wasn't on front. My cousins lived in Dixie Hill. They lived in Capitol Homes. They lived right on the front street of MLK and stuff. I lived in Adamsville Collier Heights community. So, my grandparents raised me, not my parents. My parents were teenagers, so I had a real stable life.
Yeah.
In that my grandparents stayed in the Collier Heights, so I saw everything from working class folks like us. Just you got about 800 square feet, couple bedrooms. Yeah. The girls get the bedrooms, you get the flow.
Facts.
You and all your cousins there, but your grandma might start chili by Monday. By the time she finished adding vegetables and water to it, by Friday it's vegetable soup.
Come on.
So, but it was a good life. It was a noble life. It was no shame in it.
Yeah.
But like every little boy, you want to see what was happening there with your cousin out of Timber.
Yeah.
So I got out there and had a lot of fun. I was just saying how the Red Dogs helped me scrape my life up by whooping my ass. You know what I mean? I had to lay there in the grass and realize maybe I don't want to do this trap thing. Maybe I want to figure out a better way. So I got off the beeper. But my life was good, man. I grew up going to church right at Mount Olive and then Bishop Jeans and Mother Jackson over on Hollywood Road, or Fort Johnson Road. I grew up my granddaddy, hanging on Bankhead, on my uncle's shops, fishing. I grew up running up and down the streets out of Temple with my cousins. So I had a very typical West Side life, and that's a life where you get the bottom, the middle, and the top.
Facts.
I saw everybody in my community from, Michael Cato, Herman Russell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I got a chance to see my teachers lived in my neighborhood, whether it was Mr. Twigs, the principal of Collier Heights.
I went to Collier Heights too. I know what you're talking about.
Miss Sturgis, the 6th grade teacher. So it was real. It was real. It was dare I say wholesome. That was in the middle of the crack era, in the middle of one of the most violent surges in crime and down by law, Miami boys. I refuse. But for the piece of the pie that my grandparents carved out for themselves, there was a lot of stability and reassurance. I could do or be anything I wanted to be if I worked hard.
With that being said, going to Doug High, man, what was that like for you? Because it's something in that water over there at Doug that causes y'all guys to come out of there and succeed.
Man,
so what was that
High
like?
School, man, I like I said on the Breakfast Club, if you walk into a school as a student every day and you have to read the motto without struggle, there's no progress, and you fail, it's a conscious decision almost.
Yeah.
It's and that's not to say, ooh, you bad, it's your fault. It's just to say, if this man can fight his way through bondage, enslavement, fight for freedom, educate himself, then go on to be the most photographed man of the 19th century, one of the most greatest unofficial official diplomats for this country, advisor to presidents and leaders of councils from the world. If he can do that, I have no excuse. Because I live in the tent or going home or 7th Court or going Villa. I just don't have an excuse. So going to that institution removed the excuse of failure from me.
Come on.
You know, if my homeroom teacher told me you'll never be a Morehouse man, you're not good enough, then I had to simply look at him like, well, I got to show you then. You know, I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice but to show you I can do it. And when I got into Morehouse, I say up my ante for my books like you promised, because I told you I was going to do it. You know, getting a chance to go there, you get to meet, you know, co-owner of Murray Brothers Funeral Home, Mr. Murray, who went to Washington, and then went to Morris Brown, who was an art teacher, but he taught me more about entrepreneurship. Right now, he teach me farming. So, you know, it's like you don't have teachers, you have instructors for life. You know, Ms. Potts having us read The Power of the Subconscious Mind. You can't tell me what I'm not capable of, because you didn't read that book at 17. I did. So I have had, you know, all this shit you buy now, you go to tell people I'm at $149 to go to a conference for a white man can tell me you have no limits. Like, Ms. Potts made sure I knew that at 17. You know. So for me, Frederick Douglass High School, Collier Heights Elementary, Morehouse College, just that whole West Side experience. I grew up confident, I grew up uncompromised, and I grew up very self-assured and thinking I could be and do anything.
When you think about the city of Atlanta, man, and you thinking about how that APS affects those students and stuff like that, because also when you're seeing that success from other students that came before you and after you, what do you think that does to the community? And then now with the schools not being as prevalent as they were back then, how do you think that's impacting the community now?
I think they get back to it. I think the sister's name is Erica Wilson maybe, but sister's over on the school board doing a dynamic job. You know, you got guys like Michael Wynn, the band director, Doug Stanley Pritchett back over there. It's like you have now people who've been through APS who are now leaders who are doing their best. What we need more of are people from the community participating. And I know it get hard because I know families don't have home ownership like we used to. I know families have to move around. But if our administration and our parents could work together and help a child understand the importance of going to George Washington Carver, the importance of going to Booker T. Washington, the importance just in name alone. For your rival as Frederick Douglass to be Benjamin E. Mays, there's no way you can feel inferior to anybody. Because no matter what side of the ball you fall on, it's greatness. You know, you know, Outkast DJ, one of the funniest, most prolific DJs in the world, went to George Washington Carver. He's a product of that. So for me, you know, I proudly wear APS as a you know, as an alumni of APS, not just Frederick Douglass, but the Atlanta Public School System. I wear it like a badge of honor. I'm proud that our city council people do that, went to APS. I'm proud our mayor does. I'm proud that many other leaders in our community. What I want to see is the regular community, regular working class folks. How do we better organize to help support these kids so they have everything? Because in the middle of the crack eras, mamas got together with the food stamps and made sure that the boys playing on the football, the baseball team, or the kids staying after school for tutorial had chips and soda. You know what I mean? And if it's things that we can do in the community to better help those things that are already happening, let us know and we'll help. You know, just like we help Next Level Boys Academy, just like we help communitybuilders.org. Like I'm always interested, even the Frederick Douglass Alumni Association now, and just seeing how we can be stronger. Because if we give these kids the confidence they need, man, they're gonna give us some results. That's amazing. In my opinion.
As a Mays High alum myself, 01. Go do be was our motto right there too. So we knew we needed to get up, go, and do and be.
Absolutely.
But I gotta ask you this though, Killer, as a person that invests back into the community on the real estate side of things, man, how important do you think it is for us to go back into the community and into those neighborhoods and buy the block back versus moving to the south side, far north and far west?
Well, a lot of it too, I'm gonna tell y'all is, so you don't have to buy the block back, don't sell it. You know, like, so the people who are older, think about who you leaving your house to. You know, I know that Martha, who went down to Dillard, she's your baby and she's smart. And you know, but she also moved to LaGrange or Dunwoody, or she moved to Conyers. So she doesn't have the same level of interest in the community that Mark might have, who just work at the Bronner Brothers factory. But he married Alicia. They both went there and they want to raise their kids in the city. Maybe you want to give them the gift of giving them. You know, I'd like to say to the, you know, to the ones who may be younger that are in school, maybe you want to talk to your grandparents about a trust. So that you put in a trust and you don't sell it. You know what I mean? Because if once it's gone, it's gone. You know, and we lucky to have some of it, but usually the taxes are only, you know, a few thousand, if that, a year. When you start looking at what you spend, hanging out at clubs, eating out $200 a month. That could be $2,400. That's the taxes right there.
Exactly.
So I'd like to encourage people to keep it. And if you can't keep it, find somebody to sell it to who cares and that will.
Yeah.
You know, two of the most, crushing things I've had to hear is old classmates. I see them like, hey, man, you still got your parents' house? Man, I just sold it, man. They gave me a couple $100,000 for it. I'm like, I would have wired you $250,000 in the morning.
Come on.
Because I'm not only gonna get it, I'm gonna get it. I'm never gonna sell it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it in trust. It's gonna be there forever because I'd like for the neighborhood to be able to produce more strong, confident black children. Mm-hmm. Not that I don't respect the love and care for other people, but I'm a strong believer in having communities that are insulated by your culture.
Exactly.
So culturally, you putting out the most confident kids you possibly can, because that way you have a stronger tapestry that makes this country. Instead of having parts that are diluted and weakened, like your old grandmama's quilt, you don't want any bad fabric on there. You want strong, reliable fabric to sew together to make the best quilt you can. So we need strong neighborhoods. And the only way you do that is economically to keep your block. And if you don't keep it, you have to come back, buy your block. Do business on your block. Mm-hmm. Put businesses established there. My grandparents were the first entrepreneurs that I knew, in that my grandfather kept his house. My grandmother's, that was their house, right?
Yeah.
His original house, then they rented out. Mm-hmm. Because it was a renter to landlord relationship, my grandfather said, if I die, keep them in there and keep the rent the same until, and we honored that. That's what you get when you get local ownership. That's what you get when you get reinvestment in your community. Both my sisters have my grandparents' house. They both still right there on the west side.
Yeah.
I'm currently looking for a residence. I own industrial stuff on the west side, but I'm looking for a house.
Yeah.
As a family house on the west side. So, I think that we should be buying, keeping, not letting go, holding as much as west side of Atlanta as we possibly can. And even the mayor told you that, God bless her soul. She told you, don't sell your grandparents' home.
Thanks. When you think about gentrification and them prices going up at the same time, man, what are your thoughts on affordable living inside of the city? Because also it's getting to a point to where some folks might not be able to afford to stay, the old folks on fixed incomes and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I got to give it to my wife. She got us into HUD. She got us into buying and refurbishing homes, because as they were closing down apartments, housing projects, and things of that nature, they needed more multi-family homes. They needed more homes for families again. And Shayna pivoted our business that way. So we get to provide a service for keeping people, with affordable housing in. Market rate, now HUD don't pay. Which HUD pays, they pay on time, but we probably get 2/3 of what we deserve. But it keeps families in the community that need to be there, the ones that look like us.